I'm learning to be nicer. I feel like that's something that, I'm not a mean person. I'm a very nice person, but I'm learning to be nicer in even the simple things. And like that is something that God has been teaching me. Because they hated Jesus. They persecuted Jesus. They were extremely mean and rude to Jesus. But there was also those people who Jesus was nice to first and they ended up loving Jesus. And it's kind of a weird story, but I was recently at this event and we were under this tent thing. Me and my sister. I was holding our spot at this table because we were getting food and stuff like that. The table was like medium size. It wasn't really too big. It was kind of like, hey, if you have your table, you have your table. Nobody should go over and kind of stand at the table with you because technically it's your table. So to go over to someone else's table where they're eating with their family is kind of rude to do, basically in that situation. But what ended up happening was it was raining outside, and normally in a situation like that, people are very possessive of their table, especially if you have family or especially if you're like a person that doesn't really want anybody sitting at your table. It would kind of be rude to go up to a table. Let's say it's a circular table and one person's on half of the table. Like there's space on the other side, but most people would feel very like awkward or shy or not know how somebody would feel if they joined the other open side of the table, right? And as I was, eating and everything, my mom and my sister went to like go get a drink or something like that, and they had left the table. So the table's no longer full, but the table was big enough that if other people did want to join the table, they could. It would just be a little bit tight, but it wasn't like an impossible type of a thing. But it did start raining outside. And when it started raining outside, everybody started like crowding in, but still trying to be respectful of other people who had their own table. And there was this couple who had just got some food and were searching and were looking, trying to find a table, but all the tables were filled. My mom and my sister had just left our table. So technically I was standing at the table by myself, but you could actively see that there was other people's food there. So it didn't really look like an open table. And something in me just said, oh, you guys can take the other half of the table. And the way their eyes lit up, and I was like, wow. They probably were not expecting anybody to do that. They probably were expecting to just stand and eat their food because everybody's more like, defensive of their table and securing the spot, especially since it's raining outside and people are trying to come in, like really making sure they had their table. And the way she was just so like thankful for me allowing them to stand on the other side of the table. We both were like, oh, what are you having to eat? Like just little human interactions. I was just like, Lord, I want more of this. Like, I want to be more like this. I want to make people feel like this even more. I don't want to be the girl with the RBF who looks intimidating and I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to speak up first. I want to be able to invite people. I do have my boundaries, of course, but I just noticed that, like, I don't know, like, this world could be very mean for no reason. And it's like, we're all supposed to love each other. And it's not just my own. Like, I don't take credit for it. It's all God who basically prompted me to say that. But still, it felt good knowing that I was kind to someone. And I'm like, I don't do that enough. Like, I really don't. Like, Lord, help me in some more situations where I can be more like you. Because if Jesus was standing there, Jesus would have, as soon as he seen them, been like, hey, you can come sit with me. Like, immediately. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, he would have let them. And that probably, if we talked a little more, it could have led into a conversation about God. You know what I'm saying? Just little interactions like that. That's not what the Lord had planned in the moment. But it gets my mind rolling on, like, how impacts could happen off of being nice and being kind to people.